Hello guys, and welcome back to the podcast. This is Paint the Town Dead, and I am one half of your host, Caitlin.
I am Andrew, and I am at full strength.
Okay.
Because I got the second dose of the vaccine. It's been 2 weeks now, I think. So
oh, you're good.
I am fully juiced and ready to go.
What are you going to do with this newfound strength?
Gonna keep playing video games.
All right.
Keep social distancing just as I did before the pandemic started. That's what I'm gonna do. Or, I mean, I'm going to go out to the clubs, like I said in that one episode.
That you are a baller.
Yeah.
Cool.
The thing I'm known for is going out to the club with the Drew crew. That's what I called them.
Oh, yeah? Who's in the Drew crew?
It's my entourage, and don't worry about it.
Okay.
You
don't need to know.
It's a rotating crew.
Oh.
Yeah.
Secret. I'm a part of them.
Yeah. But, yeah, I got my Mark of the Beast. That card is my Mark of the Beast. I can do whatever.
Well, I'm really happy for you.
And this is definitely the Mark of the Beast. Not like all the other things that people said were the Mark of the Beast, but definitely weren't.
But this one for sure this time is.
This one for sure.
Without a doubt.
I feel it in my soul. The darkness. The
the
darkness is growing.
Because the devil's there?
Yeah, the devil's there now.
The devil.
Satan. Or Satan, that hockey player. It was spelled like Satan, but he's from Eastern Europe or somewhere, so it's like Satan.
He's like, ha, I got you. It's not really. Or it is, and he's in disguise.
Maybe. He used to play for the New Jersey Devils, so, you know.
Oh, my gosh.
And his number was 66. You can't do three numbers, so...
Nope.
So that's what he had to go with. No, I don't even know what his number was.
Oh, okay.
That would have been funny, though.
Did you just make all this up? Only 2/3
Only the part about the hockey player, weirdly enough. I do have the Mark of the Beast now. That's real. That's real stuff.
According to today's legend and not the Left Behind legend that we grew up with.
Oh my gosh. Those books and movies. I never read them or watched them. They seemed bad.
My mom had a lot of them, but
yeah.
Whatever, that's fine. I don't care. I never read them.
They didn't seem like they'd be very good, but...
I don't know. A bunch of people jumped on that train.
Yeah, and the world's still here, unfortunately. Oh, well.
And here we are, making a murder podcast.
That's right. So, I guess we should jump into it, because we're both very tired.
Yes.
Me for no good reason. Caitlin, because she, works hard or something. I don't know what she
does.
does.
It was my first day back at work since I've been off dying.
Yeah.
So, it's just just take a little bit of time to get back into it.
I gotcha. So, we're going to go to 1993.
I was alive.
We were both alive.
And you were too.
And guess what?
What?
Still alive to this very day. Fun
Spoiler
fact. Alert. Yeah, so we are in Jacksonville, Arkansas, which is...
That's not far from you.
It's not far from... it's... I saw it described as a Little Rock suburb on some papers.
You could say that.
Which is it's 30-ish minutes. Maybe not even that. It's more like 20 minutes from Little Rock.
Just with traffic.
Yeah, and the interstate that goes through there, it's terrible.
So bad.
They've been working on it for about 40 years, I think.
Since this case happened.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. It's improved, actually, a little bit, but, it's also where the Little Rock Air Force Base is located there.
Yes, it is.
So, anyway, February 9th, 1993, we were in Jacksonville, Arkansas, 10:50 a.m. A woman named Debra Reese is at her home, and she's talking to her mother on the phone. She mentions to her mother that a black man had knocked on her door asking to borrow tools. But she says she was uncomfortable with this interaction.
Why?
Not sure, but I think it's just because she was home alone. And it's
okay.
A stranger.
Yeah.
And supposedly sometimes people will do this to figure out if people are home or
I see.
If they are home, who is home, that sort of deal.
I see.
Yeah. So she's like, I'll come over to my mom's house. We're gonna do that. I'm gonna get ready, do my hair and all that.
Just to be with her mom to have company or something.
Yeah, basically, and just to not be at that house.
I see.
Around 1:30 p.m. though, so it's been a little bit. Doesn't take that long to do makeup and hair, I assume.
Okay, speak for yourself.
How long does it take you to do makeup and hair?
If I'm doing full makeup and hair, I need a good solid 2 hours, if not 2.5.
That seems like too much work.
But I like to take frequent breaks. I'll wash my hair and then go sit down for a little bit. And then I'll do makeup and then chill for a minute. I mean, I take frequent breaks.
So. Okay, so the issue is that you're lazy.
I get really hot when I get ready, and so I need to cool off.
It's because you're lazy.
Excuse me?
Caitlin's lazy.
Say it again.
More like
say it again.
lazy, and I don't know. I'm trying to make
You suck. Okay.
I agree.
Continue with your story.
I'm batting 0 right now. So 1:30 p.m., Debra Reese has not arrived at her mom's house. So her mom is a little worried because that's
what's
too
taking
long.
so long? Yeah.
And she's unable to reach her by phone.
Gotcha.
So she goes to Debra's house, and it looks like it's been broken into.
Oh, no.
So she calls the police. She doesn't go into the house
Probably because
yeah, you don't know what's going on in there.
Yeah, for sure.
And police get there, and in her bedroom they find Debra Reese. She had been raped and murdered.
Oh my god.
She was beaten to death with a tire thumper.
A what?
A tire thumper. It's like a
Tire
thing. No, it's different. I looked it up because I was like, is this slang for something? It's like a tire gauge sort of thing, but it's bigger.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So there's blood all over the walls and floor and stuff.
That's so sad.
She had like a scrape on her face, which they decided was from a rug in the house. That'll come into play later, maybe.
Scrape from a rug.
Yeah. So, there's not a lot to go on. Like, I mean, there's obviously going to be like DNA, fingerprints potentially, but
It's kind of early stages for all that.
yeah. And
Well, for DNA, not for fingerprints.
Yeah. Yeah, fingerprints didn't come to use until 1994, actually. That's not true, obviously. That's a joke. Not a good one. Not a good one.
Agreed.
They can't all be winners, and most of them aren't. Not when you're dealing with me. So, there are, however, 2 eyewitnesses who claim to have seen this black man who knocked at the door earlier and said that he had come to one of their houses as well.
Oh.
However, there's they eventually identify a man named Ledell Lee. Mm-hmm. This is a very famous case right now. Mm-hmm. This is we'd actually been holding off on doing it for a while. We'll explain all why later, which you all probably sort of know.
If you know Arkansas crime, you know.
Yeah. So there's no physical evidence really, but there are these 2 eyewitnesses.
Are they neighbors, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
They're like in the neighborhood, I guess.
Okay.
The eyewitnesses gave conflicting accounts of what happened and all that, and what the person looked like, and their identity, like their name. So, which is a little weird.
Yeah. Were there 2 people?
There were like 2 perpetrators. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay. No.
Okay.
I was trying to make sure what you're asking because there's 2 eyewitnesses. So
Yes,
I was like,
yes.
there are 2 eyewitnesses. Okay.
But they both had such different accounts.
They had fairly different accounts, and also eyewitnesses in general are more fallible than you would think.
100%. That's why cases cannot be based off people's testimony.
Right, not entirely. You have to have
even
more.
if they're like 100% sure. I've seen experiments about this. Like,
yeah, especially if you don't know the person. It could be one thing if you're like, I saw it. It was the person that I'm best friends with, and I've seen them every day. And
exactly.
that's one thing, but they didn't know this guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's so many like. The first one I ever saw was like they just had a guy come into like a classroom wearing a hat and stuff, and then afterwards they're like, "Hey, what color hat was he wearing?" And some people were like, "He was wearing a hat."
Yeah, exactly.
They also had different answers for the color of the hat and stuff. And it's not like it was a weird color. It wasn't like something somebody would be like. It wasn't teal, which is a color that gets called a zillion things. People are like, it was green or it was blue because teal is green and blue together. But people call it like seafoam. And it's like, no, idiots. Don't you know anything about colors?
It's teal, I tell you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, for instance, one of these eyewitnesses claimed that he was around 50 feet away when he saw this stuff go down. Because he's like, I saw it from my couch. Like, I could see out my window. And they later found out, like, no, this is more like over 200 feet away.
Wow.
Which makes it
you
that
can't
much.
See anything.
Yeah. And also the lineups that they used were shown to be biased against Ledell Lee.
Oh, they got people to look like him specifically?
I think it was more like they made sure that the other people didn't look anything. Yeah. So
I see.
so they go pick him up, though. They arrest him. There's no signs of blood on him. Remember, on him or his clothing. And remember that there was blood like splattered
everywhere
on the walls and like, the ceiling and stuff. And there's nothing under like his fingernails either.
Is there anything under her fingernails?
There is.
Oh, okay. We'll get to that.
Yeah. They also search his house and find no evidence. There's no bloody clothes or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And none of the possessions that were missing from her home are in his house either. And this is like all the same day that they picked him up.
So there's like, he would have pretty much had to go back to his house to dispose of everything. Yes.
And his sister, Patricia Young, said that she was with him during the time this murder would have taken place.
I see.
And she's like, there's no way he could have gotten away like during that time frame.
Right.
And there were fingerprints found in the home that did not match Ledell Lee.
So he wasn't there.
Seemingly.
Okay.
There are shoe prints that they say are the same size as the shoes he was wearing.
Well, cool. That doesn't rule out anybody.
Right? And maybe that's not even totally accurate. That's going to be called into question later.
Okay.
So he goes to trial first time. Mm-hmm. And there's like basically no evidence, obviously.
There's evidence, but it has nothing to do with him, it seems like.
Yeah, there's very little evidence, I guess. Mm-hmm. And it ends in a hung jury.
I can see why. I can see why.
But he does have a second trial in October of 1995, and he's going to be found guilty and sentenced to death.
Wow. On that evidence?
On that evidence. Because you can't even like introduce new evidence, I don't think, for a second trial. It has to be the same stuff.
But I meant like, that's it? That's how with that?
Yeah.
There was nothing definitive tying him to the crime scene?
Not really, no.
Well, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. So, y'all may have heard of in 2017 when Arkansas decided that we just had to satiate our bloodlust and kill a bunch of people. We've talked
about this a few times.
Yeah, we've talked about two other people who are part of this.
Mm-hmm. Who were they?
They were Kenneth Dwayne Williams. He was the one who murdered the cheerleader from Pine Bluff.
Yes.
And then got out, murdered another guy, and then killed a guy in a car crash.
Yep.
And then the other one was Jack Harold Jones, who is the one who, it turned out, raped way more people than they thought.
Yes.
Raped and killed.
That was terrible.
So, Arkansas basically decides they're going to run out of midazolam. Is that how I say it?
Midazolam.
Midazolam.
A.K.A. Versed.
Their supply of that drug is about to expire.
And we talked about this because I was like, why don't they just go get more? And you're like, well, because companies don't want to sell it to them and stuff.
Nobody will sell it. That's why South Carolina's bring back firing squad.
And California, I saw that was on the docket too.
South Carolina.
Which is wild. Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah, you would think they'd go, hey, this thing we're trying to do is so horrible, nobody will help us do it. But instead they're like, not learning that lesson. They're learning the lesson of, well, let's just do it a different way.
Oh, that would be horrible.
So, yeah, so 2017, Arkansas is like, we're going to execute 8 people real quick, very hastily.
Back.
They end up actually only executing 4. Mm-hmm. 4 of them got off for now, I guess. So, like I mentioned, Jack Harold Jones, Kenneth Dwayne Williams, and there's also Marcel Williams, who is on our list. We haven't covered him, but we will eventually. Mm-hmm. Those 3 are all executed. And Ledell Lee is also on the docket to be executed. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so this is like the medicine's expiring. There's protests and stuff.
That celebrities came.
Yeah, it was a big deal. But nothing was going to stop Arkansas. We're going to murder people no matter what.
Yeah.
We got to kill them.
Yeah. That's what happened.
I mean, if you're scheduling it based on like when the drugs are expiring, that seems bad because it's also
it's like, maybe we should reevaluate that.
Right. So before he is to be executed, Ledell Lee, he said to the BBC, "My dying words will always be, as it has been, I am an innocent man." April 20th, 2017, he is executed by the state of Arkansas.
Wow.
He's the first person executed since 2005. And so he was the first of the 4 to be executed.
I can think of other people that probably should have gone first.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway.
I think they choose like the order based on like prisoner number when there's like
You're
multiples.
Right. You're right. We did talk about that.
Yeah, like I think it was Ruiz and Denton. That was like how they decided.
Yeah. That's what I think you're right.
Yeah, so it was probably a similar thing there. Or it could be. Let me look here.
I think it was prisoner number. I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it maybe is alphabetical, but I don't know. Because there's 2 Williamses and a Jones, but Jones comes before L. So, yeah, I don't know.
Anyway.
So yeah, 2 weeks before he was executed, people started like really trying to stop it and potentially find more evidence of whether Ledell Lee would have done it or not.
Right.
So the ACLU and Innocence Project get in to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
They're brought in by his sister, Patricia Young.
Oh, okay.
So they file a lawsuit with the county or Jacksonville, I forget which one.
Uh-huh.
Basically saying like, hey, can we look at this DNA? And they're like, no, we're not going to do that. Because it's like, why?
Yeah. No, we just want to kill people.
I don't understand it. But they find that there's DNA that potentially belonged to whoever the murderer was.
Mm-hmm.
And it had never been tested with modern DNA technology.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to get that. But he's still going to be executed. And it takes a little while before they're finally able to get this stuff to move forward. So January 23rd, 2020, they basically file suit with the state of Arkansas and all that.
Mm-hmm. His family.
The ACLU and Innocence Project on behalf of the family.
Oh, I see.
Basically.
Wait, I was going to ask you something.
Yes.
Pause. Did he have any criminal history before?
He did.
Okay. Petty stuff?
I think he was accused of like rape and stuff. So like bad times.
Yeah.
But
doesn't mean you committed this crime.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, they file the suit to try and get this evidence released so they can DNA test it. Patricia Young, for instance, she's quoted saying, "My family has been unable to rest for the last 2.5 years, knowing that my brother was murdered by the state of Arkansas for a crime we believe he did not commit."
Wow.
And she also says, "What happened to Debra Reese is horrible," and it is. Mm-hmm. "And we keep her family in our prayers. But I was with Ledell the day this murder happened, and I do not see how you could have done this. If Ledell is innocent, then the person who did this has never been caught. All we want is to finally learn the truth."
Mm.
So the lawsuit basically points out like there's no physical evidence that directly tied Lee to Reese's murder.
Mm-hmm.
And the state convicted him by vastly overstating the nature and significance of the forensic testing they did.
Mm-hmm.
And especially because some of it was found to be inconclusive.
Yeah. We're just downright wrong.
Yeah. So the evidence they were going to test was there were hairs from the bedroom where the rape and murder happened,
mm-hmm.
which I don't think they ever got anything conclusive out of that.
Gotcha.
Scrapings from under Reese's fingernails,
mm-hmm.
and fingerprints.
Okay.
And also that scrape on her face, they had a forensic guy look at it, and he determined it is not from that rug, as they said.
Oh.
It's from a shoe.
A shoe?
Yeah.
How?
Like.
Stepped on her?
Yeah.
Oh. And
the shoes that Lee wore were incompatible with the injury pattern on Reese's face.
How did they even end up at him? How did they even get him?
I think it's one of those things where like he was known, and
they just picked him. They're like, "Oh, this guy does rapes,"
yeah.
And they picked him.
Well, that's what it seems like, and they led those eyewitnesses along, like with the biased lineups and stuff.
Here's a bunch of white guys.
Yeah.
So,
which one of these do you think did it?
Which one's the black guy? Can you point to him? That's basically how it went.
That's what it feels like.
Wow.
Yeah. So also the shoe prints that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
They're like this wouldn't match either. Like the size doesn't actually match.
Huh.
And also, there's a, what am I trying to say here? Lawyers, you need a good one.
Yeah, you
Guess
do.
what you're not going to have when you don't have much money?
Public attorney.
You're going to have a crap attorney.
Not to say all public attorneys are bad, though. Some do it because they want to help people that can't pay for stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, most likely, they're not going to be the cream of the crop.
The top notch, yeah.
Because those people will be making bank.
But don't they have to do a certain amount of like pro bono cases a year?
Oh, I don't know. That's a question for somebody who has a clue.
Hey, I know somebody.
Which is not me.
Who's a lawyer. Or
Yeah.
was.
But after his conviction, he had a crap lawyer, basically.
Gotcha.
So there was a post-conviction hearing, and one of the prosecutors approached the judge and was like, hey, his attorney's like messed up.
Was like intoxicated?
Yes. He says, Your Honor, I don't do this lightly, but I'm going to ask that the court require him to submit to a drug test.
Oh my gosh.
He's just not with us. His speech is slurred. So he obviously did not have great representation.
Oh, that's so sad.
And in
Wait,
fact,
how did it come out? How did the drug test come out?
I don't know if they ever actually did it, but the guy who was his attorney, Craig Lambert, wrote a letter this year or last year. It was in October of last year. He wrote, I was struggling with substance abuse and addiction in those years. I attended inpatient rehab. Ledell's case was massive, and I wasn't in the best place personally to do what was necessary.
Oh, no.
So he got screwed on that front as well.
He literally had an attorney who was under the influence of something.
Yes, his attorney was...
While on trial, right? During a trial?
Yes.
You know, that's sad for everybody. It's sad for the attorney. That's really sad for Ledell.
And his family.
And his family.
And everybody.
And for Reese. I mean...
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a fair trial for anybody.
No.
That's really unfortunate.
And that's like the thing is, like, you have a constitutional right to an attorney, and
a fair trial.
You got hosed.
Yeah.
So bad.
Wow.
So, you know, he had a bad lawyer who was just dreadful.
Yeah. Maybe he's better now.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, he said he went to rehab at some point.
That's good.
And that was 95-ish.
That's
and
good.
It's now 2021.
That's good.
So yeah, this is why we've been holding off on this case. I had looked at it previously.
I remember that.
And I started looking into it is when I saw all these lawsuits and stuff about like trying to release the DNA. And so I was like, we're going to hold off on this one. We're going to wait until something comes out. Once all that stuff starts developing. Because I don't like... It's kind of like why I don't like doing the missing persons cases.
There's no finality.
Yeah, I like to know what the end point of this is.
Yeah.
If possible. So this is why we've been holding off. And the testing revealed DNA material from an unknown male other than Lee on the wooden club that was used to kill Debra Reese.
Where did they find the wooden club at? Where was it?
It was in the room, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because like I said, there was no physical evidence like at Lee's house or anything. Okay,
it was all in the house or the room or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a bloody shirt that was wrapped around the tire thumper. And they said the DNA profile did not match any. They didn't match Lee, and they also don't match any in the national database.
Oh my gosh.
So there might well be a murder rapist running around out there.
Okay.
But also it was 1993, so they might just be dead. Who knows? This
is a very personal, violent crime. You are all up in somebody's business, like using your hands and stuff in close proximity. That is a heated, violent, personal crime. Did she have any kind of ex-jilted lovers, some boyfriends, reported any stalking incidents, anything like that?
Not that I know of. And yeah, so. But and we don't know who the DNA belongs to. They did say the DNA and evidence they had is incomplete and partial.
Okay.
So it's not like...
They couldn't submit this for familial... chronological.
I think they could.
Whatever. Oh, really?
I think they could. I think they have. Like they've put it into the database, but nothing's come back. Nobody matches.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they. You might be right about the familial thing. I'm not positive. So yeah, Lee's sister Patricia Young, she said in a statement, We are glad there is new evidence in the National DNA Database and remain hopeful that there will be further information uncovered in the future.
100%.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed that it wasn't like we got the
found the
DNA,
person.
we found who it was, and then they closed in on the guy and got him, or in a lot of cases like this, he would have killed himself or something.
Yeah.
That seems to happen a lot.
It does. Can't handle the guilt.
So this is there's a very, very good chance that Arkansas executed an innocent man.
Which is just not good.
Tragic.
For everybody. Reese didn't get justice.
Exactly.
Ledell Lee, he was not innocent of other crimes, but he was innocent of the crime he was tried for and sentenced to death.
Right.
So that's not okay.
He was basically murdered.
100%.
We basically have two murder victims here. I mean, the possibility is always there that he did do it, but it's very, very low.
Here's the thing. Oh, are you finished talking? Are you finished?
Yeah, for the moment.
Are you finished with your case?
Oh, no. I've got some more stuff. But
okay.
You can,
go ahead. We'll talk.
It's a podcast. We can talk and stuff.
We'll talk at the end. We get it all at the end. Go ahead.
So, Asa Hutchinson, who is the current governor and was the governor when the executions happened.
Oh, really? Okay.
So he kind of like dug in on this. Like he says, whenever you make tough decisions, or whenever you have to carry out the decision of a jury, you realize it's been reviewed by the Supreme Court at every level. They confirm the convictions, and it's my duty to carry out the law. The evidence that was obviously uncovered is inconclusive, which is somewhat accurate.
Yeah.
And the fact is that the jury found him guilty based upon the information that they had, which is like, so he's basically acting like, well, I had to. You didn't.
But this was the case where he had inept representation, correct?
Yes.
So how can you have a fair trial and have a good verdict that way? You can't.
Right. And again, he was only executed when he was because the drugs were expiring. So they rushed through this stuff. And he also acts like he couldn't have done anything. There's a thing called clemency that a governor can give and be like, let's not execute him.
Does he have to approve? Does he have to approve the death?
I believe the governor has to go through and approve it.
Death sentences?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they can provide clemency to be like, hey, we're not going to execute him. He'll just stay in jail.
Or let's get a new trial on this. Like, can he do that?
Well, they were trying to when they were doing those lawsuits.
I mean, but
to begin with,
Hutchison, could he have been like, you need a new trial? Like, could he have ordered that?
I don't think he could have done that.
He's not a part of the judicial system necessarily.
Right. I don't think he could have done that. Okay. I don't think that's in his power.
Okay.
But I mean, consider also like Mike Huckabee. Mm-hmm. He wormed his way into getting Wayne Dumont out.
Mm-hmm. Look how that went.
Yeah, it went very well.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, it might make you a little gun shy to let people out. But in the case with Hutchinson, he wouldn't even have to let him out. Just not murder him.
It's true.
That's all you had to do.
Yeah.
So there is that. Also, the Attorney General, Leslie Rutledge, she sucks. That's my political statement.
Okay.
She's wanting to run for governor, which I think is funny because she's spent all this time sucking up to Trump, and he's endorsed Sarah Huckabee Sanders. So
who also sucks. She's a crazy person.
So sucks to be you, Leslie. Anyway, she said the evidence demonstrated beyond any shadow of a doubt that he murdered Debra Reese. Obviously not true, as we have gone through.
No kidding.
It is not beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Unless there's something they know that we don't know.
Yeah. So she can go suck one. She says, after 20 years, I am prayerful that Debra's family has had closure following his lawful execution in 2017. Guess what, Leslie? You don't get closure by just killing a guy just because.
How has Debra's family released a statement or anything?
Not that I've seen. But like that, if it's the wrong guy,
then it's not justice.
That's not justice. That's not closure.
No.
That doesn't make me feel. That would make me feel better.
Like you just killed an innocent man, and our daughter still doesn't have justice.
Right. You just killed a guy to kill a guy.
Yeah.
Which is basically what they did because they rushed through all these executions.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's potentially a murderer just out and about.
An unknown murderer,
right.
Which is scary. Like, he doesn't match with anything. Oh, I'm hopeful for familial DNA.
Yeah. I mean, it's been nearly 30 years since she was murdered, so who knows what could have happened? Maybe the murderer already died or something.
But you can still figure all that out through familial DNA.
Yeah, but I mean, just like getting justice and all that.
But it would be nice to have the
actual
name.
closure,
yes,
instead of fake closure where
yes,
you just make stuff up.
Yes.
Oh man. So, and also I like the phrasing of lawful execution. Like, okay, cool. Doesn't mean it was
you murdered somebody by law.
Yeah, there was lots of. Not to be an internet person and compare everything to the Nazis, but there was lots of lawful executions under the Nazis. Lawful doesn't mean right necessarily.
Yes.
And I just couldn't think of anything else, so I just said the Nazis.
Okay.
That's why I was like,
first thing you could think of.
Well, yeah, it's one that everybody knows.
Yeah.
Lawful executions happened in Chile. About that, when the right wing military coup happened, and they killed all of the socialists.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool times. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So we have a man who most likely did not commit a crime, or this crime specifically, who is executed, and we have a woman whose murderer is still out and about potentially.
Yeah.
Just running around.
So here's my thing. Excuse me.
You okay?
Yeah, I had to burp.
Okay. I thought you were about to like cry or something.
No, I'm good. So here's the thing. The state has the burden of proof upon them. Like, they have to prove without a shadow of a doubt, with conclusive evidence, that this person is guilty. And that's really true for any case, not just this case, but for any case, typically. Correct. Right? I mean, not necessarily the state, but you know, the person that has to prove it. They have
the prosecution.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. That one.
Well, according to Leslie Rutledge, you can go suck one. They did prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt, but I think we all know that's not true. But they didn't. Every point can be disproven. Exactly. And he did not have a fair trial. That's the thing. Is he wasn't even given a chance. No, he was hosed big time. 100%. And that first trial, even with like bad representation and stuff, ended in a hung jury. So, wow, there is that. And I think first and foremost, it stems from he didn't have a chance at trial because of his representation. He didn't even stand a chance. Had he had appropriate representation, I think he could have stood a chance. And I think the case could have been fought well to say, why is this even a trial? There's not enough, there's not conclusive evidence. And I think not to say that he's a bad person now. Hopefully that fellow's gotten help, that lawyer's gotten help, attorney, and he's on a better road and is doing what he likes and is, doing it better. But unfortunately at that time, he wasn't. And I think it could have gone better from that point. Second off, like, if the death sentence is on the table, but again, if he had appropriate representation, I think it could have been all disproven. Right. I mean, the other lawyer was like, "Hey, that guy's messed up." And if somebody approaches and says that, like, the trial stops there and you restart, because if there's any shadow of a doubt, if another lawyer who's prosecuting a case, he's like, "You're making this way too easy on me because you are messed up, dude. And I'm going to go tell the judge." Like, the fact that you're like, you're trying to win this trial and like, you're like, "Man, I can't even do this in good conscience because this guy's so messed up." Like, it shouldn't have gone on from there. It should have stopped right there. Right. And then I think he might have stood a chance with appropriate, representative. So there are the two biggest predictors of somebody receiving a death sentence: race and quality of counsel. I mean, that sounds about right. So if you're black, you're more likely to get the death sentence for basically the same crime a white person may have committed. Did they let his past convictions come up in the trial? I don't know. Probably not. They usually don't. Okay. Stuff like that. Okay. But yeah, so like we may have killed an innocent person, just because we had to rush it through. Yeah, just had to do it. Yeah. And I think that's reason enough to be like, no more death penalty for anybody, basically, because like that is a heck of a responsibility, and you have shown you can't handle it. Yeah. So they just stay in jail forever now. I mean, you and I have different points on this. Do I think it's appropriate for everybody for every crime? Heck no. Do I think it's appropriate for the most heinous crimes? Possibly. Sure. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, they shouldn't have. I'm not going to shed any tears for like Richard Snell and Timothy McVeigh or whatever.
Yeah.
But also the fact that we've killed even one innocent person to me is
we need to
unacceptable.
reevaluate here.
Unacceptable.
Yeah.
And people will just be like, oh, whoopsie daisies. Like, no.
He deserves, he's been murdered now. Now he deserves justice.
Right. So, I looked this up. There's been at least 167 death row inmates who have been exonerated since 1973.
Whoa.
So those are people who could have been killed and were innocent.
Whoa.
But we fortunately got to them first.
But how many people did we not get to first?
Right.
Is
Probably
there any stats
lot.
on that?
No, because I mean, a lot of times I'm sure they don't even bother. And
Right.
there's probably a lot where, yeah.
Right, yeah.
I mean, even like Jack Harold Jones, we'll bring that up, because he raped and murdered a woman,
Awful.
and another guy went to prison. Well, another guy who was a serial rapist was threatened with the death penalty if he didn't take a plea deal. So he potentially could have, if he went to trial and lost, he could have potentially been executed for a crime he did not commit.
But he was a bad guy.
He was a bad guy, and he died of cancer during the time in which he would have still been in prison anyway.
It worked
So it
out.
was like,
It worked
yeah,
out.
it was. They got lucky on that one.
Yeah, they did.
You don't usually get that lucky,
No.
such as this instance.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not a fan of death penalty. And it doesn't deter anybody from committing these crimes, or else these crimes would have stopped.
That's true. I wonder what would be a deterrent. You know,
I mean, nothing actionable after the fact is going to be a deterrent.
no.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Because they think they're going to get away with it, or they're doing it like not thinking that way. You don't think of it like, oh, well, I better not. There's never been one time where I thought like, I sure wish I could murder this person, but I can't because the death penalty. Dang it.
Yeah.
It's more like,
If I get caught.
yeah.
And I'm not going to get
Well, it's
caught.
more like, I just don't want to murder anybody ever.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thing.
Well, what do you think could we do to help prevent this? What do you think could be some steps taken?
Prevent what? Executing innocent people?
Prevent violent crimes.
Your main thing is to improved education, outreach programs, and things of that nature.
Yeah. Preventative measures. Just like in medicine, it's better to have preventative medicine than treatment medicine. You should try to prevent heart disease. You should try to prevent diabetes, not treat it when it happens.
Yeah, like the main determinants of like whether people are going to be criminals is like
Low socioeconomic
poverty
status.
and lack of education, things like that.
Yeah.
And also poverty can be prevented more with better education. So like start with education, I guess.
And then let's go to health, because
Mental health also.
not even, I mean, health in general, physical health, mental health, whatever. Because I know that going to a hospital out of network for my insurance, I can't wait to see that bill.
Oh yeah, that's going to be fun.
Well, but I mean, there's things I can do, but I shouldn't have to do all that. Like, I pay my wages. I work a good job. Even if I didn't, what makes me better than somebody else? Why can't we both get the same health care?
Yeah.
And I literally didn't want to go to the hospital because I was afraid of the money I'd have to pay. I could have died.
And that's why a lot of people don't go to doctors or hospitals and let things get bad. It's like they'll have like a horrible, weird growth on their shoulder.
Cancer.
And it's like the size of a basketball. It's like, I would have come when it was the size of an orange, but it's like,
but I can't afford it. Yeah, but I can't afford it.
I like, there's been like a tweet going around lately that's like this guy who went in for something. I don't remember what.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a bill. It's like $10,000 or something. And he's like, this is garbage. This makes no sense. And the insurance company's like, oh, you should call the hospital. And he's like, I did. They said it's actually 12,000 or something like that. Like it went up. Like, that's great.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh no, your patient portion. Like, it's literally, I have anxiety thinking about that bill coming in the mail. And it's going to be like 5 separate bills. Because it's going to be like, oh, this was your hospital stay. Oh, this was your doctor's stay. Or like your doctors that you saw. Oh, this was the specialist that you saw. Oh, this was the ER bill, whatever. It's all so messed up. So messed up.
Yeah, it's a bad time.
Rampant capitalism is a bad thing.
Yeah. That's what Atlas Shrugged is all about.
Rampant.
It's a like libertarian thing. So it's like greed is actually good and leads to a better society if we just let rich people do what they want, because the market will decide. And it's like, well, the market's not magic. It doesn't work that way, but that's
Oh
fine.
my gosh.
Yeah.
It's and like you know, we've talked about the death penalty thing, like, and John brought up a good point. He was like, I was like, if you have clear evidence, or it's like a video of you doing it, or like your DNA is underneath their fingernails and it can only be there if, you know, you're the last person. I mean, if it's like clear and present and evident. And he's like, and what about like school shooters? You know, it's like, well, clearly they did it. It's clearly them that did it. They said they did it, and we have evidence they did it. Like, where does that, I mean, if the death penalty is on the table and they're convicted, I mean, where can they be properly rehabilitated? Some people just cannot be. I have the...
Sure, but that's what life without parole is for.
But then you get into prison overcrowding. It's already so overcrowded right now. Not that one death will free up a lot, but...
No, it doesn't. I mean... We've only executed, since 2005, only 4 people. So it's not like we freed up a bunch of space at the Cummins unit or something.
No, we don't. I mean,
also,
COVID helped, but...
you know, there's also the whole thing of like for-profit prisons. That shouldn't exist.
No.
That's part of why they get overcrowded, because they have
messed up.
quotas. And sometimes they have contracts that are like, the state has to provide this many prisoners.
That's so weird.
It's so bad. It's evil.
That's so weird.
It's a bad thing.
Oh, and people should not go to jail for marijuana.
No, and that's being improved. But also, that's another thing with like race stuff. So I wrote a paper back in community college days about how we should legalize or at least decriminalize marijuana. And like a lot of the information was like, if you're a black person and you're caught with weed, you're doing hard time. If you're
ridiculous.
White, you might pay a fine.
You're like, oh, you're a kid partying, and if you're black, it's like, oh, you're a drug dealer.
Yeah, it's like it was way out of whack. Like,
yeah,
it's a bad time, and so it's like you do that, and you're sending away people who are potentially fathers. So now their kids growing up without a father.
The cycle continues.
It's a bad cycle.
Yeah.
Also, I say. Get rid of the death penalty, because again, it is not a deterrent. There are plenty of countries, like say in Western Europe, they don't have the death penalty, and they have way fewer murders than like Arkansas.
If it's firearm deaths, they have far less because they're not readily available.
Yeah, and people always bring up like Switzerland, because everybody there has a gun, because they have everybody has to be enlisted in the military for a while. Mm-hmm. But they also have, like, if the U.S. used the rules that Switzerland does, people would be very unhappy. Because there's, like, you can't keep the ammo in your house and stuff like that.
Oh, where do you keep it?
At whatever military place.
Because
they're all part of the military at some point.
Oh, so you can't, like, use it to protect yourself.
Right. That's not the purpose of it.
Purpose is if you need to militarize, you have homes of militaries.
Yeah, people who have, like, been trained or whatever. Because, again, like, everybody has to do it.
Okay.
It's compulsory.
What else? What are some other rules in Switzerland?
I don't remember all of them, but basically, like, but they do have like more gun ownership than most places in Europe. Mm-hmm. They also have more murders per capita than most places in Western Europe. So there you go. Maybe that's just a coincidence.
Maybe.
There's also like stuff like, if you want to talk about guns,
I like their furniture.
Yeah.
IKEA.
That's Sweden.
Yeah. Oh no.
You blew it.
I blew it.
You blew it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But yeah, like there's stuff like if you are mugged in New York City, you're like however many more times more likely to be murdered than if you were mugged in London. And also, like, I don't want to harp on gun stuff because I don't have huge opinions about it or whatever. Mm-hmm. But like sometimes people make like the worst arguments in favor. Like anytime there's a mass stabbing or something, it's like, see, knives are just as dangerous as guns. It's like, then why isn't the military just using knives? That'd save a lot of money. Like, that's not true. Yeah. There's not going to be some old man shooting hundreds of people in Las Vegas from a hotel window with a throwing knife. Yeah. That's not happening.
No. Yeah.
Get real. Yeah. Like, make a real argument, which there are plenty that are fine. But when you say stuff like that, I'm just like, you're arguing in bad faith. You're not you don't matter. Your opinion no longer matters to me. So.
Yeah. We were in some kind of violence training at work a few weeks ago, and they posed the question, like, how can we make guns safer or something like that? And I leaned over to my friend. I whispered, have stricter gun control in the United States. It's like, we can prevent a lot. Not to say it shouldn't be impossible for you to own weapons, but damn, I mean, you should have to do something a little more strict.
Yeah. I don't know. Here's what we should do. We should get those cool airsoft guns from Japan where they look exactly like real guns and swap out everybody's real guns for those without them realizing until they pick it up and realize it's really light.
Or they'll be like, why did my weapon get lighter? I'm so strong. And
yeah.
Poof, poof.
I'm a big, strong boy.
I'm a big, strong boy.
Oh, no, it's all airsoft. This sucks.
Yeah, let's do
How
that.
am I going to do a mass murder with this?
That would be good.
Yeah.
Surprise.
And also, like, there's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it makes it harder for police when you're like, everybody might just have like 7 guns on them at a time.
That's scary.
Which leads to its own problems. Because, I mean, you go some of these places and where, like, cops don't even have guns on them at all times.
Yeah.
They just have, like, a stick to hit you with or something. Like,
or a taser. Just a taser. Which, that's good enough.
Also, if you have any friends who are cops, highly recommend trying to find the video, if there is, of them getting tased. Because you have to get tased before you can have a taser.
Yes.
So, shout out to my cop friend who let me see the video because he makes a really funny noise in it.
What does he do?
It's just like I can't do the noise.
Can you emulate it?
It's really weird. It's just like or something. I need to see it again. It's very funny.
So funny.
So, that's about all I want to say on that. I guess.
Okay. This is lots of discussion that could happen with this one.
Yeah.
So many points.
And it's not like people are escaping from prison willy nilly like they were in the 1920s. Yeah. They're not. People aren't pricking themselves and covering themselves in oil to look like they have smallpox.
So weird. It was soap, wasn't it?
It was oil or something. He did something with soap.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He ate soap so he'd have a fever.
Ugh.
It'd make him sick. Yeah.
Ugh.
So he did that along with the pricks
I have
on him.
smallpox.
Yeah. So they isolated him and he ran away.
Bye.
Yeah. It's not like
no.
Or like in cowboy movies where they like tie up some horses onto the wall, then run off and it pulls the wall down.
Well, there we go.
Like that doesn't happen.
No.
Though also, since we mentioned Kenneth Dwayne Williams,
mm-hmm.
like he sort of goes against what I'm saying here of people escaping because he did escape
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and kill 2 more people when he did it.
Mm-hmm.
But also he wouldn't have been executed by that time anyway. But
whatever.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. And again, if you tell me that knives are just as dangerous as guns, you can go jump off a cliff because I'm done with you.
Then we're going to take your guns and you can just keep knives.
Like you're just totally full of it.
Yeah.
You're not making a real argument.
Agreed.
I think one of the things I find most tiring about the gun debate is just when it's like, it's not guns, it's mental health. It's like, well, what are we going to do about that? Mm-hmm. And it's like,
nothing.
You weren't supposed to ask a follow-up question.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say like, let's try and fix mental health stuff first.
I'm okay with that.
I think that's a good idea.
Totally okay with that.
But yeah, there's things that can be done before we get down the line. And also, like, it'd be really, like, the Second Amendment's not going anywhere.
No.
You'd have to get however many states to vote to repeal it, and that ain't happening.
It's
not even close.
No.
So.
Okay. And there was no guns involved with this case. How did we get on here? Don't even worry about it.
I don't know. I think it's your fault.
It was me. 100%.
I just wish we lived in a country where I could get sick airsoft guns that look like real guns
so
and not have to worry about the police shooting me. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the police. Okay, I see.
Yeah, because there's been the stuff where like a kid gets killed by the police because he's playing with a toy gun.
That's sad.
That sort of thing. Which is why all toy guns now are orange and
blue
neon
and bright
stuff.
And green. Yeah.
I used to have I have a BB gun at my house that looks like a legit like German pistol.
Mine looks like a weapon. Mine's like wooden and metal. And it's not pretty. I mean, it's not like colorful.
Yeah, the one. So
you'll shoot your eye out, kid.
Yeah, BB guns are cool. But yeah, I don't know what. Oh, right. We have to do our famous segment. How many Star Wars is Caitlin?
1.
You got it. It's 1. The Bad Batch is out.
Oh, you liking it?
I like it so far. Yeah, it's a sequel to Clone Wars.
Is it like Clone Wars? Is it like Is it like everything you hoped and more?
Oh, so far yes. It's good. It's good.
Good.
So it takes place like right after the Clone Wars have ended. So the Republic is turning into the Empire.
Ruh-roh.
And like you're kind of seeing the changes take place, which is really cool. There's some New Zealand actress on there.
Rachel House?
No, I don't remember her name. She's like of Asian descent, I think. I forgot her name already. But
Is
she
she
plays
famous?
a character named... I didn't recognize her, so I guess not.
That's my nickel, sorry.
She plays a character named Omega.
Omega?
Yeah, that's how
Like
she says
Omega?
it. Yeah.
Okay.
But, she's from New Zealand, so she says it that way.
Omega?
Omega. My name is Omega. But,
I'm going to go to bed now. I've got work in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
That was pretty good.
I guess they got a New Zealander because she is a clone. And I guess they're just like, well, Tamara Morrison, the guy who played Jango Fett, who all the clones are based off of, he's from New Zealand in real life.
Oh, this is The Bad Batch, a movie.
Yeah, not that. Star Wars Bad Batch. Looks like you got it on there, like, right below.
Oh, okay.
I think. So it starts off, the first episode is like movie length. It's like
wow.
70 minutes. And then the second episode is like 20-something
There's only 2 episodes?
so far. They're doing weekly releases. I think there's going to be 16, which is annoying. That's that many. And they're doing weekly releases.
Michelle Ang
Yeah, that's her.
plays
Omega.
Omega.
Yeah, you're better at the accents than I am. That's because you're an actress.
That was Omega. That was like a new Midwestern accent. Sorry about that. Yes, she's a New Zealand film actress.
Told you. Why'd you doubt me? Why were you calling me a liar this whole time? You could clearly see that my pants were not on fire.
Her son's name is Coda in real life.
Coda?
Coda.
Is it short for Dakota?
No, Coda.
There's a...
Koda.
I think she's from New Zealand. There's a female wrestler named Dakota Kai. I think she's from New Zealand. It's either New Zealand or Australia. I think she's a Kiwi though. And I'm not sure that's even her real name. It sure isn't. Her real name is Cherry? Cheree.
Yeah, and,
Cherry Georgina Crowley.
Michelle Ang is from New Zealand, and she was also in Fear of the Walking Dead Flight 462.
Yeah, cool. I've never seen that.
Me neither.
So that doesn't help anything.
Not at all. Is that her? Oh,
I guess.
It's a cartoon. You can't tell. Never mind.
She looks nothing like her character. Her character's a small child with blonde hair.
This not what she looks like. She is small, but she's not a child, and she is
definitely not
darker
blonde.
Complected with dark hair.
Yeah. So, yeah, that show's pretty good so far.
Cool.
I look forward to more of it coming out someday. It just seems like it's going to be a while. Because it's a weekly release and it's 16 episodes.
That's a lot. It's 16 weeks.
Well, not quite. They released 2 in 1 week.
Oh, okay. 15 weeks.
The first episode, the long one, the extra long one, that was like 70 minutes.
Yeah.
They released that on like a Tuesday or whenever May the 4th was. Which I believe was Tuesday. I think I said so last week.
Okay. Yeah, because Cinco de Mayo, it was last Wednesday.
Yeah. So they had the first one come out on May the 4th, and then the second episode came on Friday, and the next ones will come out on Fridays.
Gotcha.
Going forward.
Gotcha.
That's about all I've watched. I've been watching Psych.
Oh yeah, you liking it?
Yeah, that's my current
comfort show.
Yeah, show I just put on and maybe pay attention to. Maybe I don't.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
If I miss a few episodes because I fell asleep, doesn't matter.
It's fine.
I'm not going back.
And pick back up.
It does do the thing that really annoys me. They do it in Murder, She Wrote. They do it on Monk. They do it on all these stupid crime shows where there's a special person who's super smart and always right.
Mm-hmm.
Where
everybody doubts him.
They can't deal with them always being... Yeah, they're like... He's like, that guy didn't do the crime. And they're like, dang it, Spencer. We can't go off with your psychic whatevers. You got to have evidence. It's like, he knows that. He's going to go get it.
Give him a minute. He's working on it.
He's going to go get the evidence. You just need to chill. Y'all need to chill out. I think Murder, She Wrote is not as bad when people are like...
Yeah.
Like, what? That's crazy. How could you... What?
Yeah.
Because a lot of that show is her traveling around.
Yes.
So it helps. Whereas like Psych, it's almost always the same police officers. Even his dad's the one who trained him to be like that. And his dad's like, Sean, you're crazy for thinking that. It's like, you taught him how to do this.
You were there, Dad.
And he's always right. So like, and also even I watched an episode recently where like Gus, this is in season 4. Gus is like, who's in every episode and with him.
This is BFF?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, Sean, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. And it's like, Gus, you've been there every time. He's always right.
You know, Gus. You know.
You're there for every single case.
Why are you doubting me?
Why would you?
Yeah, I agree.
It's kind of annoying. It's probably less annoying if I'd watch it like one episode a week, like when it was coming out, instead of watching like 5 episodes in a day.
Yeah.
Because then you see the trope happen over and over.
Yeah.
It was really annoying when they did it on Monk, too, because it was like...
Clearly, Tony Shalhoub is the best. So.
Yeah, it's like, listen, police captain, you
Who
worked
played
with him.
Buffalo Bill in
Yes.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yes.
Which is really funny.
There's been some, like, shocking people appear on Psych. Michael Rooker was in an episode. He is...
So was Jennifer Lawrence.
In Psych?
No.
Oh.
I'm
talking about Psych.
Oh.
But yeah, Michael Rooker was in an episode. They had 2 episodes back-to-back that had wrestlers in it. John Cena.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah. And Stacy Keibler was in an episode, too.
She makes good cookies.
And is super hot.
Okay.
She was my first celebrity crush.
Oh, really?
She made me realize things about myself.
You can stop.
That's it. I was just like... Yeah.
I like wrestling and I like women. I'm a man.
I was like, yes, Miss Hancock. That was her name to start with.
Stop.
I didn't come up with that. That was probably Vince Russo who came up with that because he's that kind of person.
Anyway.
He came up with a group called Sports Entertainment Extreme.
Oh,
Sex.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and there were some other people that I was like, oh my gosh, it's that person. I forgot who it was now. But that's also because Psych was on USA and Monday Night Raw, WWE's main show, was on USA. I don't know if they do that as much anymore with crossing over, having wrestlers show up on their shows.
Somebody just yelled at us on Twitter.
Oh, what'd we do?
Apparently, they said, I can't listen to your podcast if it will continue to butcher the basic understanding of math. I found myself yelling at you both about things taught in 3rd grade. Well,
Fair
sorry, Tasha. I'm not good at math.
Fair enough.
What was the reference to that? When did we do math?
Who knows? We've done it a few times. It's just never good.
I'm very bad at math.
If that's a trigger for you, then do not listen to the show.
I guess we're bad at math. Sorry, guys.
There's no guessing. We definitely are.
Sorry about that, Tasha. You can drop some comment again, Tasha, and let us know what to fix and how to do math.
Unless you're not listening, because she said she's not.
She said, I can't listen to your podcast. We'll continue to butcher the basic. I mean, I don't.
As long as it's the math stuff we're butchering, I'm fine with that, honestly.
Yeah.
We've made no...
I'm not a mathematician. I never claimed to be, and
Correct.
I never will be. Math is my worst subject.
We have never made any allusions to us being anything but wretched at math. So, if you were like, Andrew doesn't know anything about Star Wars, then I'd be pretty upset.
Listen again, because I do.
I would be like, what? I'd be very upset. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got that wrong.
You'd be like, I'm so sorry. I failed you all.
Exactly.
I failed you. You were supposed to be the chosen one.
Exactly. I was supposed to be, but then I got my arms and legs chopped off and set on fire.
But then Tasha started following us, so I guess
fine.
that's okay.
I think
Tasha.
It feels kind of jokey the way she's saying that.
Help us be better.
Yeah. it does feel jokey when she's saying like,
yeah.
I can't listen to you because you're bad at math.
It's true. I won't deny it.
But it is fair. It is a fair criticism.
It is fair.
We should just have a podcast where we do math.
Oh.
Just listen to us be like, what?
You know what? Well, I just want to say this. Whenever I came from private school to public school, it was a shock, first off. It was in like 4th or 5th grade. I don't remember. But we were doing timed, like that was one of the first things I remember. I came in, it was math first thing. It was a timed activity, and apparently they did it every day. It was a multiplication worksheet, and you did it as fast as you could. Your multiplication as fast as you could. I remember doing it, and I turned it over. I was like, why are they doing this? We did this 2 years ago. And I did it very, very, very fast because we'd covered it 2 years prior in private school, you know? So, and then I finished, and that was the last time I was superior at math than anybody.
Basically, you got lazy, sounds like.
Well, I mean, I caught up. I was where they were. I caught up to where they were. Although I was always in advanced math, but I didn't deserve to be in there. I was only in advanced math because of that multiplication thing for being ahead there. But then I was like, why am I in this class? I'm so bad at math.
Yeah.
But
we both are.
Very.
There's something I don't... we've said it before. We are not experts of anything.
Nope.
At any point.
Never.
That's very funny, though, that somebody called us out on Twitter for our math.
Sorry about that, Tasha.
Tasha, you sound like a cool person.
Let's be friends.
Yeah. I mean, they're following us now.
Yeah, thanks, Tasha. I have some things I watched. Just a couple.
What'd you watch?
Well, first off, I made John watch Legally Blonde. It was on TV. No, it was on a streaming service. I don't remember which one. But he never seen it before. And it came out 20 years ago this year.
That sounds right, yes.
That is crazy. I remember watching that when I was younger. I was like, she has the cutest clothes. I love her hair. But now I'm like, that's all so tacky. It's all so terrible. And it's such a cheesy movie. It's so cheesy. But it's just kind of like feel good at this point. It was pretty cringy to watch at 31 versus when I was 11.
Yeah, I mean, it came out when I was, I guess...
12.
Would you say it was 20
I was
years
11.
ago?
Yeah,
so
it was
I was
2001.
2.
2001.
Right, I was 2 years old.
No, you were 12.
I was 2 years old because I'm doing the joke from when I was saying I was 22 earlier.
Oh, you're so funny.
Just to go along with we are not experts, I am not a comedian.
That is very true. You hit that. You hit that nail on the head.
That's the only thing I've hit out of the park today.
Woo. Okay. So we watched Legally Blonde. It's not a good movie, but it is a feel good movie. And then we watched a new movie on Netflix, which was classified as horror, which is not something I don't normally do.
Wish Upon.
No.
The best movie ever made.
The worst movie. No, it was called, hold on. I don't want to get the title wrong.
Oh, get it wrong. This is the part where we can get stuff wrong and nobody cares. Except for if it's math.
Yeah, and then Tasha cares.
Again, sorry, Tasha, but also thank you.
Okay, that's what it is. Things Heard and Seen on Netflix. It has
does not sound like a real movie.
Things Heard and Seen. It's based off of a book called All Things Cease to Appear by Elizabeth Brundage. But this has what's her name? She was in Mamma Mia. Amanda Seyfried. Has Amanda Seyfried in it. And Natalia Dyer, who's in Stranger Things. I don't recognize the male main character. Also Karen Allen is in it, who she plays Indiana Jones's baby mama.
Oh, the one that he...
The dark-headed one with the gets the thing imprinted in her palm or whatever.
Yeah, the one where
that was
it makes Indy sound like he's a sexual predator. Because she's like, I was just a kid.
Oh, did she say that?
If you do the math, it's like, oh, gross.
Oh, okay. Well, she was drinking like nobody's business.
She was an adult then.
Okay.
In Raiders, but they mentioned something that happened some time ago. Oh. And if you do the math, it's like, oh, no.
Oh, okay.
Indy, gross.
Well, I don't recognize the main character fellow, but boy, he plays a preppy douchebag really well.
What's his name? I say this like I'll know.
James Norton. James Joffrey Ian Norton.
Yeah, I've recognized only one of these names you've mentioned.
Do you recognize him?
Nope.
I don't recognize him either. I don't know what he's been in.
He just looks like a guy to me.
Anyways, he was a really good actor. I mean, he was a total D-bag in this.
Is this a movie?
Yes.
Did you say? Okay.
It's like a horror type movie. I would not say it's scary though. It really wasn't scary, and I'm not into scary movies. It was okay. It was just okay. Great performance by Amanda Seyfried. She's a wonderful actress. Boy, it was a lot of anxiety and tension between the two of them though. Ooh. But anyways, it's kind of about this couple that's trying to kind of like start over in life, and they move to the countryside of New York, I think, and in a rural area, and things happen.
Things happen. Things heard and said, or whatever.
Things heard and seen.
What a weird title.
It was weird. I know. Things heard and not seen is like usually how you hear it, or something like that, or seen and not heard. Anyway, if you want to watch it. It was not a top recommendation of mine.
Maybe you should have watched The Witch, since you've never actually seen it for realsies.
I did see something about it today, and it was like actresses that deserved Emmys or what awards, Golden Globes or whatever it is.
They're not Emmys. I think that's TV.
You're right. That's TV. Golden Globe? Oscar
for sure is movies. I think Golden Globes are as well.
So whatever it is, but that the Academy doesn't like horror movies. And
accurate.
And what's her face? Anya Taylor-Joy was one of those people for the Witch.
Yeah, that movie was really good.
It was okay. And
you didn't watch it for realsies, though.
Florence Pugh for Midsummer.
Yeah.
There's some other stuff too.
Florence Pugh and I, we've seen movies.
And that lady, she's the Australian actress from that movie I really hated.
Which movie did you really hate?
The really scary one that I'll never watch. Hereditary.
Oh, Toni Collette?
Yes. She is a wonderful actress.
Yeah. It's one of those things where, like, yeah, they don't like horror. Neither do critics typically.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at horror...
But that was kind of not horror. Like,
I mean, but it was.
They were. It was...
If you look at, like... Well, I think Hereditary actually did really well critically, but a lot of times if you look at, like, horror classics and you look up, like, critics always hated them.
Yeah.
So, there is that.
Yeah. So that's what I've watched. Still listening to the Throne of Glass series. Lots more magic. I'm in the next book now.
Any smushy or just mushy?
No mushy.
Okay.
Or no smushy.
No smushy.
Not much mushy.
Did you say it was
either.
young adult novels?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, I don't think there will be any smushy.
I watched some YouTube video recently where it's like, it was about Chaos Walking, that movie that finally came out with Tom Hiddleston and Daisy Ridley. It had been delayed for a long time. Like, even before COVID, it got delayed.
Is it horror?
I don't think so. No. But it's based on a young adult novel. But I laughed because there was a part at the beginning of the YouTube video where he was like, it was like, it was a young adult novel, which is how you know it sucks, because if it was a good novel, they would just call it a novel.
That's not... Harry Potter's a young adult novel.
Yeah, it was more like just straight up for kids. I feel like young adult means like 15-year-olds. Whereas like Harry Potter, that was...
I think the series...
Younger.
That's why I love Harry Potter, because it's so versatile. Like, I still enjoy it now as an adult. But when I was a kid, and those books came out when I was a kid, you kind of grew up with Harry. The books got more mature as he got older. The first one is definitely like, yeah, we're on an adventure in a new school. Yay, we're wizards. And then it like got darker and darker and darker. And it's like, wow, there's some really deep themes here.
And for a while, the books kept getting bigger.
Yes, they did. And they got to 4, and it was like, we should tone this back a little bit.
Joe, we need to actually edit some stuff here. You're getting out of control.
I did love the 4th book, though.
The Goblet of Fire?
Mm-hmm. It was my favorite for a while. I think it still might be. Because, books so much more than the movies, but
what are you gonna
it's
do?
usually the case.
The answer is make a new one.
Although The Green Mile, that movie is almost verbatim the book. Because I read the book, and I was like, this is the movie is literally playing in my head as we go.
That's how I feel sometimes reading those Witcher stories, because it's like, this is basically the same episode.
That happened in the show.
Yeah. Some of it's a little different, but yeah. He doesn't say the F word as much, Geralt.
Oh, Geralt.
Like the scene when...
Henry Cavill.
What's the scene? Oh, when Pavetta and Dooney get together. Pavetta's the daughter of Lady Calanth, or whatever her name is.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like the law of surprise. And he's like, they're like, what do you want for your reward? He's like, the same thing, I guess. Who cares?
You know what I did?
And then she throws up because it's like she's pregnant. So that he's just like, frick.
I get a kid out of this.
Yeah, dang it.
I will say I made a mistake, and I read too much into lore. Into the stuff, into the story.
I wonder if it's the thing I've been talking about.
What?
So spoilers, I guess.
No, don't talk about it.
No, what else do we have to talk about?
Okay, on The Witcher, this is spoilers of The Witcher, which I'm really excited for season 2.
Yeah, so I'm interested in seeing what the spoiler is.
That I know?
You know, yeah.
I
won't say anything.
It's that Dooney is actually the bad guy.
Yeah.
The black, what is he called?
The Nilfgaard?
Yeah, he's the leader of Nilfgaard.
Yeah. So I knew that from the
Emperor,
game.
I think the Emperor.
Because you meet up with him in the game, Witcher 3. And so I remembered that because he's like, where's my daughter, Ciri? And I was like, I just remembered that from... And then like the show has him supposedly dead off screen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I bet that's not true. Because I remember meeting the guy. And I was like, there he is. Sure enough.
I read it, I was like, what? What?
Yeah, so that was a thing where I think I mentioned it to you before. I was like, I know some things, but I don't want to tell you.
Yeah, I read too much.
So that was like the main thing.
And I was like, oh, that's such a good twist.
Yeah. So
anyway,
there you go.
Okay, well, that's all I got.
Yeah, let's take it home.
Okay, guys, Thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks for listening to us. Thanks for listening to this part where we talk about stuff. We know some of you don't, and that's fine. We realize some of you do because apparently we suck at math, which is very true. So thanks for listening that far ahead. You can catch us on Facebook at Paint the Town Dead. You can catch us on Instagram at Paint the Town Dead, all one word. You can catch us on Twitter at PTTDpod, and you can catch us on our email, pttdpod@gmail.com. Please be sure to subscribe on anything you can, like anything you can, rate 5 stars anything you can, comment positively. Any interaction you have really helps us out.
Mail us checks of money.
We'll take that too.
Yeah.
We drop episodes every Tuesday unless I'm in the hospital, unless I'm sick, unless I'm on a plane for a funeral, unless... I mean, there's so many things now.
It's always been Caitlin's fault, which is fun to me.
So most episodes we've been late. We definitely missed the episode week before last. Just totally missed it. So
yeah,
we took that episode 59
to 60 break.
59 to 60 break. That every
that thing I made
podcaster
up,
has. Yeah.
I mean, that thing, yes.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
Yeah. So guys, thanks so much for stopping by. Well, we'll be back next Tuesday with another episode. This has been Paint the Town Dead, and we'll see you then. Goodbye.
Bye.